Hey, allyuh, I'm Reon, and this is Ree's Teas, where we have conversations that matter with people who care. Today, I'm joined by my friend and creator of the game Sou Sou, Nadeem Kothdiwala. Please welcome Nadeem to Ree's Teas.
Hi,
Nadeem.
Reon. Hi, Reon. I'm pretty excited to be here.
Thank you so much for doing this. So, Nadeem, for those people who don't know you, you are a medical doctor by day, but you recently invented a new board game called Sou Sou. What made you decide to invent a board game?
So, like sometimes when you use the word invent, I feel like I'm taking a lot more credit than I actually do, because if the game itself is a lot similar to a very popularly known game that we know, like Monopoly. Mm-hmm. So I just very much remodeled it. And it's just because one day I was just thinking, you know what? I don't know how the idea came in my mind, how it would be a lot more fun to be fighting up for places like Port of Spain and San Fernando instead of Park Place and Broadwalk. And then imagine if you get a card saying you get wrecked on the avenue, right?
Relatable.
And then from that time, all the ideas came to my head. And then you get to realize how many things in Trinbagonian culture is so fun and so many things that you could get kicks on. And I just went with it.
What I find very interesting about what you just said, Nadeem, is that I was hesitant to actually ask you how would you respond to people who would compare the game to Monopoly. So I think it's so honest and so transparent of you to say that it is a remodeling of a game that we already know.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much a lot of the concepts and the basic concept of the game is the same. I'm not gonna hide from that.
Okay.
But it's a lot. I have introduced some new concepts to the game as well.
Okay.
And it's a lot more fun now when you can actually relate to the things or relate to the cards.
So why the name Sou Sou?
So, actually, when I first came up, Trinidadians generally, everybody, and I anticipated everybody had to throw their 2 cents in and whatnot, right? That's Trinidadians for you, and that's fine. I love that aspect of our culture. But, and a lot of people said, hey, why don't you name it Trini Polly boy, right?
Oh my God, Brittany, were you thinking it? No, you said it.
I was about to say that. Okay. Maybe that would have been too on the nose.
Exactly. I mean, the thing about it, I've had quite a few concepts in the game. The least I could do is at least try and change around the name. And the thing about it, right? So the Sou Sou, and not the Sou Sou that making news recently.
Hey, hear this now. You want to make some money? I don't mind. It had this group. I'm introduced it. All you need is $500, and all you need is 2 people.
And it's a big fad recently. The generally known concept of the Sou Sou is one where it's like a money saving program where people have a Sou Sou hand and every week they contribute to it, and then one person will go home with that hand and whatnot. And I just thought that's something that we all know locally, and it's something that that whole concept is something that I introduced into the game as well. When you start to play, you realize it. So that was the basis of the Sou Sou over there. And then lands, because you're fighting for different land and whatnot and stuff in the game itself.
Right. And I think it was smart of you to not name it Trini Polly, because I think if we're being 100, a very popular local game is Do Say That, which is a spin on Taboo. And I assure you, if they had named it Trini Boo, people would have criticized it, and they would have. You can't please people either way. So I think from my part, as much as the name Trini Polly couldn't help but pass through my mind, I think it was a very, very good idea to not name it Trini Polly.
It definitely passed through my mind, and that was the first thing, and that was the thing that was wrapped on my mind. And as I was planning the game and whatnot, that was the name that I used in my head when referring to it. But then in the end, I made an active effort to come up with a name that was different.
Appreciate it. So Nadeem, for those who may not know, what is the process of? Well, most of us wouldn't know. What is the process of developing a game like?
The hardest part is actually coming up with the concept of the game actually coming up with the rules, the little things that I wanted to change, and the little new things that I wanted to introduce and whatnot. After that, so I actually, from the time the idea came into my head, I just picked up like 4 pieces of, you wouldn't believe, is actually old scrap paper that when we, in year 2, we had this assignment to do, where we had to handle questionnaires and whatnot, the public health project.
Yes. You use your old questionnaires?
I still have questionnaires in my room. I
probably have some questionnaires in one of my boxes home as well. Okay.
I have used that to the back of those papers because it's like hundreds of sheets now. So I've made notes behind those. I've done everything for MBBS, everything to that. So
they make a mean grocery list, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Look, I just feel like, I don't know, you could probably consider me a bit of a hoarder, but I just feel there's so much empty space of paper there just to dump. I just can do it.
Absolutely. I do the same.
So anyways, I pull out those pieces of paper and then I just drew a sketch the board, and then I had to think about the locations, which locations that I wanted to put in and how I'd put it and the values and whatnot and stuff, which surprisingly was one of the biggest challenges, because a lot of people, you don't want to leave out anybody, right?
Right.
How you're gonna include everybody, and I wanted to make it as inclusive as it can be.
Right.
So that was one of the big challenges about it.
But also, I think it might have. I don't know. You can let me know. But in my mind, when it came to giving the values, you also probably didn't want to offend anybody, because like if I'm from San Fernando and you have place X costing more than San Fernando, I would be offended.
Reon, let me tell you, that was the biggest headache that I had on the game, because I just really didn't want to offend anybody. The whole point in the game is to be fun and inclusive for everyone, right? I don't want anybody to feel like, hey, their property is the cheapest on the board and whatnot and stuff. Yeah. So basically, how I went about it, quite naturally, well, I just thought about the regional health authorities, which is weird, right? So, because the regional health authorities kind of divide the country by a pretty good concept, based on population density and whatnot and stuff, right? So I thought about, Southwest, so I tried to get 5 regions from South, then Northwest, 5 regions from the West, North Central, 5 regions Central, then 5 regions which might have been on the eastern end, and then 2 from Tobago.
Okay.
Right? So that's how
Tobago wasn't there, because trust me, you don't want to exclude Tobago.
No, for sure. No. So that was one thing in terms of coming up with the properties, but then after the values was another issue. I mean, generally you would know quite naturally Port of Spain and San Fernando would be the most expensive. They are 2 cities in the country, right?
Correct. And fair.
And then I kind of worked my way down, but then, in terms of who was going to be the cheapest properties on the board. So I ended up going with Tobago, right? But it is by no way even offensive, and even when you play the game, you'd actually realize that it represents how valuable Tobago is to the economy of Trinidad and Tobago, because there is a card that says long weekend in Tobago, double the values of all your property in Tobago. So, and Tobago is actually the cheapest properties on the board to purchase. So it's actually some of the best properties that you can buy in the game. Yeah, so by no means whatsoever is it any way disadvantaged.
I love that. I love that you found a way to solve the issue while striking a balance. So how does a game go from pieces of scrap paper to a physical, tangible board game?
So I had to get like a designer, because I'm not tech savvy at all. So I got a guy, explained to him about what I wanted to do. So he designed it for me. And then after, I got in contact with somebody internationally to be able to produce it. And it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of details and whatnot and stuff. And finally, they were able to produce it. I mean, I did seek some legal advice and whatnot based on, because as we mentioned, it is pretty much of a remodeling of a popular game and whatnot. So I knew what lines I could cross, what I couldn't cross. And I also registered the trademark for the logo as well and stuff locally over here. And that was about it. We produced the sample, I looked at it and whatnot and stuff, and then after I just went with it and hope for the best.
Once the game did come out, once it was released, what was the response like? How was it received?
I think everybody who's played it has really enjoyed it so far. And as cliche as it might sound, I do enjoy seeing people play. Like, I try to encourage people to, send us shots and whatnot and stuff. Like, the other day, a customer just sent us a shot. She didn't even tag us, but she just sent me it personally. And it's like the grandfather playing with the grandson and the children. Like, I just found that was like such a real lovely clip now that, like the whole family could play and enjoy it. And then after, like, young adults and whatnot could play and get kicks on the cards, and actually haven't gotten any criticism on it.
Well, that's good. That's good. But I could tell from the process that you described to me that you definitely put a lot of thought into it. So I think it is reflected in the reception that you're getting now. With all the games that there are out there, and everybody being, inside now and opting to play games more often, what do you think makes Sou Sou Land stand out?
Just like Monopoly is a classic game. It's not just totally simple. It's fun. It's intuitive. It really engages you. But the whole local aspect of it really is what really sells it and makes it so totally enjoyable and relatable. When you can relate to everything in the game and it's fun. Yeah, yes, and they do experience a lot of these scenarios. Would have experienced maybe, sometimes their car might have gotten wrecked on the avenue. They might have get home from the girlfriend, or boyfriend, in the sun. To take attack back on your ex. All these things are stuff in the game that people would have related to at some point in time in their life.
Nice.
And I think that's the big novelty aspect of the game that differentiates it from all the other games.
I like that. I love that. I love it. I like that you've made it not just local but also local and relatable. If somebody watching this wanted to make a game of their own, what advice would you give to them?
Like, my advice, like, as I think about it, I don't think it's just specific for board games, but for anybody wanting to do anything, any kind of idea, any kind of venture and whatnot. I think trust yourself. Because, for example, one of the big challenges that I had, because I always have quite a few ideas in my head, always popping in my head, right? And I'd always be concerned, hey, what if this one thief my idea, and what if this one steal my idea, and when I went to I googled how to stop someone from stealing your ideas.
Understood.
Yeah, no, because I had to meet with the designer to design the board game, right? So I thinking, what if this man take my idea and decide to make the game on his own, right? Just a concern, I was probably a little bit paranoid. And so I still went and draft a little contract and make the man sign it that, you kind of disclose and whatnot, right? But then after, what they said online was actually very applicable. And they said that in the process of growth, right, you would have to collaborate and stuff with others. Mm-hmm. And it's a very valid concern that this one might take your idea and this one might say that and do that. But you have to trust yourself that no one would be able to execute it as you can.
I know that's right. Girl, bottom line is we're dealing with fans.
As long as that's your true passion, and you would be the best person to be able to execute it. And it is so true right now, and that's the best advice that I could give to anyone.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, it is 100% true, because even after my game came out, there were two similarly designed games with similar concepts as well, but I haven't played it or whatnot, but I've gotten, actually I'd rather not say, I don't like to talk about it. Right, but the thought and stuff that I would have put into it is because I was really passionate about it, so that's why I could execute it like that, as opposed to somebody who's just say, oh look, that man have a training monopoly, boy, yeah, like, we do that, we can make money off of that and what, because it's not their original, not their passion or not their real idea. And that's just something that I would encourage everybody to do, as long as you're truly passionate about something and willing to work towards it and persevere on it. you will be successful.
So a lot of our favorite games come from companies that over the years would have released a plethora of other games. So I'm wondering, can we look forward to any more games joining the Sou Sou land?
So I'd like to hope so. So this is probably a Reese's exclusive over here. You heard it here first. I am working on trying to come up with something. It'll hopefully should be a bit more fast-paced.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the criticisms of Monopoly generally is that it takes a bit too long to finish. Most people don't actually finish it.
Correct.
So I did try to make Sou Sou lands. I did try to put things to help speed up the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
But I am working on something to be a lot more fast-paced than that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this is going to be something that I'm trying to come up from scratch, really, which is real brain power. Let me tell you, it's like you're just sitting down to work out these rules and to come up with these things from scratch is taking a lot. I hope I can come up with something. There's a lot of ironing out and what not to do to actually just come up with the whole concept from scratch.
I understand. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I appreciate getting the exclusive.
That's Reese's exclusive.
Yeah, you guys hit it here first. All right, Nadeem. So we have one more round of questions. This is a lot more fun. This is our speed round. So it's like short answer questions, like choosing between two things and that kind of stuff, right? Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right,
Good.
cool. All right, so other than Sou Sou lands, what is your favorite game?
Well, don't say that.
What is your least favorite game?
Jenga. I don't see the point in it. Jenga is the most... I don't see the point. I get the vex when I see people playing Jenga. Like, it's just like, you're just playing it and then, oh yeah, the balls, everything falls on, like, don't bring me in.
Don't bring... Okay, have you ever cheated while playing a game?
Probably depends what you consider a game.
Okay. Like a board game. Like...
But I really try not to, because it's just that. So a lot of people think I'm a sore loser or my siblings and whatnot. I'm not a sore loser. I'm highly competitive. So if I win, I want to know that I actually beat you, and I want that accomplished feeling. So that's why I don't cheat. Yeah, like I won't cheat because
I in your face.
Exactly. I won't get that self-satisfaction. No, I need self-satisfaction. So I need to know that I beat you.
Nadeem, let me just click on it. Nadeem, like I love to win. Like, and I'm not a sore loser, but I'm a braggart when I win. Yeah,
same. If I lose, that's it. I'll go into my shell. I ain't talking to anybody. But that's it.
Let me play something else. Have you ever flipped over a board game while you were losing?
Nah. That's all.
Have you ever gotten into an argument with somebody over a board game?
Yeah, quite a lot. Like, you don't know, like my siblings are, well, you know, Nyman family, three of us, like, games used to get intense over here. We used to have like records and everything. Every time somebody win, and Monopoly had to check how much money you win by, and it added up to a total score for the month, and it was real intense.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
And then the last question is, do you, this is like a big debate on social media, do you stack draw 4s and draw 2s when you're playing Uno?
I do. I like it. I like the bacchanal.
I do. I love when it's not me and just to see somebody else's drawing endlessly. Absolutely love it. All right, Nadeem, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can we find lands? Where can we get it to purchase? Just the DM page on Instagram or on Facebook. It was available at Toy Mart, Fanatics, as well as the registry by Kutis in Kuva. But they had sold out for a while, so you can always message the page, and we also arrange for deliveries as well if they'd like. Okay. Nice. I love to hear that you were sold out. We deliver for free to most places, so. Oh, cool. And that's especially in these times. I think that's definitely an incentive. All right, well, thank you so much for coming on, Nadeem. All right, guys, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss the next episode. And we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Definitely. It was nice being here.